This week we've been looking at Kansas in the past and the type of people that lived here in the past and what their life was like, what life was like back then. Today we're going to continue doing that. We're going to be looking specifically at the games that children played a long time ago in Kansas and how those things are similar and how they are different to the games that you play today. So we're going to be using primary sources to help us to understand what happened in the past. And a primary source is a document or an artifact that was created at the time of an event or by a person that was present at the event. So photographs, newspapers, census records, diaries, all of those are primary sources that can help us learn about that time period because they are from that exact time. Once a historian pieces together the events of the past through primary sources, then he or she can interpret those materials to tell the story of the past. When someone, such as a historian, writes an interpreted account of the past, that is considered a secondary source. So the historic photographs and diary entries that we're going to look at today are primary sources. The text on the card is a secondary source because it's just being written about that time, but the pictures are from that exact time. So the historic photographs are from the collection at the Kansas State Historical Society. This first picture here was taken around 1900 in Russell, Kansas. And it says, more than 100 years ago, children lived in Kansas. They played games with their friends. They also had special toys. Do you play games with your friends? Do you have special toys? How do we know what games children played a long time ago? We can look at old photographs. What are these boys doing for fun? So you can see in this photograph here that they are riding a bicycle, right? Which is something that we still do today. Bicycles have obviously changed a little bit. Yours doesn't probably look much like that, but they were still riding bicycles even back then, so kind of similar to today. Here's another primary source. This is another photograph of little girls who are playing with baby dolls. You can see that they're holding dolls and they're all wrapped up. So another thing that is similar to things that people play with today. And then we have this one here, and it says children in the past played games at home and at school. Looking at the photograph, can you tell what games these children played? What games do you play, and what toys are your favorite? So if you look closely, they've got basketball, they have a croquet set, they've got let's see what else. These are little balls that go with the croquet set. So all kinds of games with balls. Now we play like soccer and basketball and football and some other games as well. But even back then they liked to play ball sports as well. This photograph was taken of the teacher. This is the teacher here. And their students, her students with the ball and the croquet set. This was taken around 1910 in Greeley County, Kansas. Now, another primary source that we have are diary entries that were written from that time period. So we have one of those here. It says, we can also read stories written a long time ago. These words are from a journal. A 12-year-old boy wrote this journal entry. He used his journal to write down what he did each day. What did he and his friends do for fun? So this was from Ned Beck, his diary in the collections at the Kansas State Historical Society. He was born in Indiana and moved to Kansas with his family. In 1880, when he was 12 years old, he wrote a diary about his life in Jackson County, and portions of the diary are published in a book that was written to help people understand more about life back then. So here are some little snippets from his diary. Isn't that crazy to think about, that if you keep a journal or a diary someday, people may be reading yours and learning about what life was like in 2021. So it says, Fred and I were flying his kite tonight. So there's one thing that he did for fun. He went to fly kites. And then I stopped by the swings after school. So played on swings. Some of you probably do that as well. Bessie and Walter skated along while on the roller skates. So maybe some of you have roller skates. And we went out to play baseball. Some of you may enjoy playing baseball. So what do we know about toys and games in the past? Children of all cultures have played games and played with toys from the beginning of time. It's kind of difficult to pinpoint the origins of traditional games, but there's evidence that swings existed as early as 1,800 years ago, and that hopscotch was around in ancient Greece. Technology and materials available have always influenced children's games and toys. So even though life was quite different back then, they still played a lot of the same games that you guys play today, which is kind of cool to see that those have lasted a long time. So you're going to go through now and you're going to circle the toys in the next sheet that you heard about or saw in the pictures from this video. If you're not sure, come back and watch the video again. And then you're going to think about a toy that they had long ago and a toy that we have now, and you're going to compare those two together.